Hello everybody, hope you've had as good a day as we've had here today. It's been a bit sunny at times, a bit misty at times, but you can see by the colour of my face I've caught the sun. Been very close and humid. Anyway, I've going to do my E1A tour tonight. No, I'm not. I'm going to do my E27N tour tonight, and I hope you'll find it interesting. It's a funny one really, because I grew up with these E27Ns, and they were never E27Ns when I was a kid. It was always, it was a Fordson Major, and that was it. And when they brought the diesel Major out, that was a diesel Major. We didn't think about these initials. It's only since people have got the books and started reading, they call them E27Ns. So to me, it's a Fordson Major, and this is the collection I've got. I'm going to take you round them in some sort of order. I've got various pictures and stuff which I want to drop in, but it might turn it a bit lengthy, so I've got to see how I get on with that. But there's lots there. There's lots I can come back to really. I've got hoarder stories about these tractors, most of them horror stories when I was a kid, because they didn't behave the best for me. But it's still the first, although Standard Fordson was the first one I drove, it was certainly the tractor I did most work on in my early teens then, and until I went and helped somebody else, and then I got on the Power Majors and Super Majors, and there started a second love affair. But anyway, that was a little bit in the future, not too much I suppose really, a couple of years. But we kept the E27Ns at home right up until I was 20, I suppose. Dad always had an E27N there. It wasn't until he retired when was that, 1972? Yeah, he retired, and I moved to Cornwall, and I really wish I'd bought his E27N, because it only made 60 quid I think in the sale. But I got a diesel Major and a Super Major, and it was a big enough problem bringing those down from Oxfordshire to Cornwall, so it went. And unfortunately, the chap that had it, he rolled it over and it was written off and went for scrap. So poor old thing, never saw it again. Anyway, that's enough of that. I should be in tears in a minute thinking about it. So let's start the tour, and I'll come back and talk about it in between. Okay, well, this was how my E27N collection started. In there is an E27N, and I've shown you this in one of my early blogs, but the bramble shed's taken over a bit more, and if you look very carefully you can just see the tops of two tyres just to the left hand side of this piece of a drainer, right back in the brambles. And that was the actual tractor that I started my E27N collection with. And as you can see, I didn't get all the way with that one, but a minute, we'll move over to another one. Now that one there, you can see with the steering wheel and spade lugs, that was sort of the state that first one was when I had it. And as I say, I didn't get all the way with it, but things did improve from there on. So so just remember that number one, because that's what starts an obsession. And it does get worse. No, better. Hang on. So this is one of my favourite places when I'm doing a little tour, my lineup of E27Ns. I think it's pretty impressive, but you might not think so. Now I've got the sun behind me, which might not be showing up as well as it can, but I want to just talk briefly about all of them really. This is a funny one. This Super 6 has been stood here and the tyre went off, well, I don't know when it went off, but recently, and of course it's full of water. So I need a new tyre for the front of that, but never mind, we're not talking about that now. So my first one, after the one I showed you in the brambles, I bought one for spares, and it was advertised up in Byfield near Banbury. And because my dad's tractor was originally sold in Banbury, I thought it'd be nice to have that little bit of authenticity. And when we got it back, it looked nothing like this. It was, it got no front tyres on it. There was back wheels. I've put new tyres on it since. But it was fairly sound, and I really bought it to get some bits. It was sold as spares or repair, and I really bought it to get bits for the one in the brambles. And the plan for the brambles was always going to be a diesel engine. But anyway, we got this one back, and we got looking at it, and this block was sound, and it looked all right. And my mate Andrew, he's fanatical about it. He didn't really want to lose any of these tractors, so he said, let's have a look at it. So whipped the head off, and it was all right inside. And so he said, I reckon I can get that going. Get me a decent mag, and I'll get it going. Anyway, he got it going, and it was really good. And so this is what it turned out. So this was number 2 in the collection, really, and we did a good job to it. It spent a year in red oxide, and then we painted it properly blue. It's a bit dusty now. It's a low top one, unfortunately. The hydraulic top on it is off that one you saw in the brambles. There was hydraulics on it, but I could not get them to go, so I took the one off that. So it is part of that. And the CBW668, that's my dad's old tractor number. It's not legal on that tractor really, but that's just for him. And I've got another set of number plates which I'll put on one of these others one day, and that was VRF893, and that was always my tractor. So that was number 2. Then when you got number 2, of course you start looking on eBay. So number 3 was where are we? This one. Is it? No, it didn't. It's this one. And this one I bought. It was advertised, and it seemed reasonable money. It looked all sound. I can't remember what I paid for it exactly, but it definitely wasn't £1,000. But it got a self-starter on it. He told me it was running, but there was a fault with the mag. Wasn't sure what it was. Well, mag, you know, is going to be 300 quid. But it got good front tyres on. Those are the front tyres that were on it. I have changed the back ones, but not because they're any worse, because I've put those onto something else. But then we found out it's a very early one. So this is 1940, must be 1945, and it's still got the old air cleaner off the standard Fordson on it. And it is, I haven't got the actual month, but it's definitely a 1945 tractor. So it's one of the very first ones. And it's got the features. It's got the mud guards with the reinforcing in the back like that. They're good mud guards. I've every reason to believe they're original. So I bought it. And then when I went to get it, there was another one. And it was this one. Now this one also self-starter. Very sound, new tyres all round. Again, he was a young lad, and he got mag problems, and he didn't know how to sort it out. So I made him an offer for it, and I bought that one as well. And it was Lincolnshire, nice and handy for Cornwall. But anyway, I brought those two. So those 2 tractors you can see in the picture now, they both came back from Lincolnshire. So now I've got 3 E27Ns, so should be enough, shouldn't it? But then I had the opportunity to buy this one, which is a P6, and I'd already got a P6 engine, which had been put into an E18, the ordinary diesel major, and it fitted, but it wasn't good, and to me it was a waste of a P6 because a 6D will fit so much better, and it's a more powerful engine, and so there's nothing right about it. So, but anyway, I bought this diesel major with the P6 in. This one was seized up. There was no injector pump on it. The head was all there, and I've still got the engine, so I can do it if I want to. But I've got this P6 running, so we did a swap around, and so I got my P6 then. And because you do these things and you think you're doing right, and then those that have got the knowledge tell me that it's not a P6 at all. It's an R6, which is the one that was in a lorry. Identical engine, but just a slightly different setup. So I don't know, one day I might put it back. I don't know, I doubt it, knowing me. I quite like the tractor as it is. It's very much as found. If it had got the right engine, it'd be worth doing properly, but unless I rebuild that other engine and put it back to rights, I don't see much point in spending too much on that. I would get my money back with it as it stood. So I've got a P6 now then. Then I wanted an L4, and it took me ages to find one, but then I found this one. This was a friend of mine's. It was in his dad's collection. If I say it was like this, it was like this, but the tyres had rotted right off it, and it was seized up, and I mean seriously seized up, not because of a mechanical seizure. It was water seizure, but my God, we had some job to free it off. We had the head off. We tried all the methods. We tried Coca-Cola down the bores. We tried everything everybody's granny recommended, but it was Andrew that solved the problem in the end. And if you've got a tractor that's seized up, the answer is a jackhammer, and I'd mean that, a jackhammer. And he stood on top of that engine with the head off. He had a slug of metal on top of the piston, and he hit it with a jackhammer. With a point was broken off on this thing, and you just, not as if you're digging a pit, I've got to say, but just keep rattling it with a jackhammer, keep moving around, and eventually it moved and it went. You know, they got it going. Oh, I wasn't there on the day they started it. I was away, which was a shame, but it was nice. And we've had both the Perkins engine tractors running around the field together. If I can find the photographs, I'll show you that. I've cut in there because I've got lots of little bits on the L4 where we were doing it, and there's some good photographs and a bit of video when we were towing it to start it, when we got it going, and then when we did finally get it running nicely, we took it out in the field to get some photographs. And I had Ian and Timmy driving the tractor. I was trying to take photographs for the tractor magazine, and it was like a pair of naughty children. I could not get them in the right place. Every time I pointed the camera, they go to the other end of the field, and they hadn't got a clue what I was doing over that. Wrapped up with driving the tractors. It was really funny because I could see the funny side of it, but I was desperate to get these, if I say posed photographs. I knew what I wanted, and I couldn't get them to do it. The first time we went in, I said, right, you go in the field, and I'll just take a few pictures of you driving down. So go down, turn around, and come back. And they just got in the field, top gear, tore the other end of the field. All I could see was their heads going backwards and forwards. And then when they came back, they were quite surprised because I said, well, I haven't taken any photographs yet. And, oh, is that what you wanted to do? Yes. And then it was the L4 I was trying to picture, and they were trying to do formation driving, and it was always the P6 in the way. It was the L4 was always hiding behind. Typical Timmy trying to get his head right in front of the camera, and Ian trying to get his head as far away from it as he possibly could. But that's those two. I mixed them up, went on the wrong tractors. But it's good laugh. I mean, we do have some fun when we're doing this. We probably can't see it so much in this, what we're showing, but it's always good. So that's a bit of that. So they're a bit random, but I'm sure you'll enjoy them as much as we did doing it. So. So now I've got all my tractors, haven't I? Why would I need any more E27Ns? I've got an L4, a P6. I've got there's one high top major there and two low top majors. Both of these Perkins ones are high top. But then I eBay again, and or it may even have been Facebook, but I came across this one. And so what's so special about that? Well, it's only a Fordson major, isn't it? Another one of the E27N clan. Fairly straight. The money was, I forget what it was now. It was, I think I gave 15. It was either 1,500 and I offered him 1,250. It was something like that anyway. But anyway, he took it. But the special thing about this one is it's got a rotavator. And if I can get through with it, breaking the neck. This rotavator is fitted on the back, but if you look carefully, it's not connected to the power shaft. So how does it drive? Well, this was what I'd never seen before. And the drive comes from the pulley. And you know, somebody's going to tell me they've seen it. I've seen one going forward for a winch, but I've never seen one going back like that. And why it would be going back like that when you've got a power takeoff on the back, I don't know. But anyway, this was bought new by, it's a 1946 one, genuine 1946. The chap I bought it off, his dad bought it off them in 1956, and it stayed on the same farm until I bought it last year. And it was remarkable really, because when I went to pick it up, it was stood in a field, and it was sheeted down. And I got there a day early. It was a day I was supposed to be there, but it was a day earlier than he was expecting. And it was sheeted down, and so he hadn't a chance to do anything to it. But he pulled the sheet off, and I was wrapping the sheet up. He poured a bit of petrol in it, and the second half turn of that tractor, it started. And I don't mean fired, it started, and it ran. And from there, I drove it onto my trailer and brought it back, and it started every time like that until today, when I thought I'd give a demonstration. The mag's not clicking properly, so I'm not going to do that for you. In fact, I'm not going to try and start anything because it always lets me down. So that's number 6? No, number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, number 6. So I've got 6 there then, and I've still got the 1/8 on the hedge, and I still had every intention of doing some with that. I wanted to put a 4D in it. It was a sort of thing that I thought was going to be easy, and then it wasn't. But anyway, we sort of moved on. It was always there in the back of my mind. The engine stood over there, just behind that doorway, and it was there for about 5 years. And I nearly put it into a diesel major and didn't, and then, because I'd still got this dream of doing it, why I don't know, and I've got plenty of other things to do. Anyway, I'll show you what happened then. So we've got to move on again. Now I've got, you'd think with 6 majors I've got enough, but I was offered a good one for spares. It's supposed to be a good engine, and that was this one. The engine was good, but nothing else about it was very tearing at all, and I wasn't that excited. But the price was right. Bought it for the engine. You know, it's always handy to have one on side, and I wasn't going to do anything with it other than keep it as a spare until somebody else came along and offered me another one. And this other one had got hydraulics. It had got a good radiator, the one you can see on it. Got a good tank. All the bits I was missing really. The mud guards aren't 100%, but they're a lot better than the ones that were on it. And it got a fairly reasonable set of wheels on it. So we grafted the two together. So I've got this one as well. So this is a work in progress still at the moment. Still got to collect a few things for it, but it does run nice. And if I can find the video, I'll show you that. There's another cut in, because when we put this one together, we started it with, well, how we usually start these things. We put a pulley on, if there's a pulley on there, we have a belt on it and just drive with the belt, and you can stand beside it and tune it up. So this was the first start of the petrol paraffin one, and I was on the P6 and putting it in gear and driving it. And I didn't take me very long. The tractor itself, when it starts, Andrew's still messing about with it and trying to get it right, but I'd got my foot on the clutch then. It was driving itself pretty well from when it did it, and Andrew thought I was still driving it, or the P6 was still driving the tractor, and it wasn't at all. It was freewheeling, and it wasn't until he actually knocked his tractor out of gear that the pulley stopped. So anyway, again, we had a laugh about that when we'd finished, because he was sort of saying, why didn't he stop driving it? And I wasn't driving it at all. But anyway, the tractor ran really sweetly, and unfortunately, we haven't really done much more to it since, unfortunately, but we will get round to it. Anyway, that's another little break for you. Running in a minute. Behind it is the one I showed you the other day, the E27N that I brought home. Can you imagine this looking like that another day. But it could do quite easily. It's a good tractor. It's got all the potentials there. I've got a good set of tyres to put on it. There's the hydraulics on it. They all work. They're off at the moment because I couldn't find that damn connection. I have found it now. It was all in bits when we had it, so we're putting it back together. And I've got a loader which I want to put on this one because it's got the 2 levers. I've had this Fordson Major or Fordson E27N loader laid in the hedge for a long time, and so I'm going to put that one on this one. So there's this is number 7, and that's number 8. Do we want any more? Well, I've still got the 4D and I've still got the one in the hedge. But I had a bit of inspiration, and this is what I came up with. It was joining the 4D to the E27N that was the problem, because the gearbox is such a pig to fit. And I did a conversion plate and everything, but there's my E27N with a 4D in it. Isn't that good? What a cracking join that is, look, eh? Can't have better than that, can you? Look at that, fits a treat. And this really does get people scratching their heads because they can't see where that join is. But I'll let you into the secret. That transmission and everything is all E1A, or a diesel major. And I bought a scrap back end, and it suddenly occurred to me that most of the stuff on the E27 will fit it. So that's what I've done. I've put all the drawbar and everything that I possibly could change over that looked like an E27N, I've put onto that tractor, and it's pretty good. The only thing that I really scratch my head on, and those that are experts will know what the difference is between E27N and an E1A, and it's the clutch and the brakes are different sides, and they're lower. So I didn't want to do I wanted it to look, I wanted to fool people. So that's what I've done. And apart from them being the opposite sides, the only snag I've got, and I can't get over it, is those the brakes work fine, but if you want to put the handbrake on at the same time as you put the foot brakes down, you've got to ease it off because it will foul. But I've got a 6-speed box. I had to lift it up a bit. I was determined to get nice clearance under here. I've got a Fordson diesel major radiator in there, and it's filled from here. That's a dummy in the top. I can just squeeze it in. It will fit between those cast sides, and that was a concern, how I was going to fit that. But it's just straightforward diesel major all the way through, apart from the bits that look like an E1A. I did try to use the throttle off it, but it's a bit wild, so we've got this diesel major combination here, and I couldn't do anything about that. I've kept the choke as a stop, and it's all right. It's a bit of fun. It's not finished by any means. I've got to pull it all apart. I need to tidy this front up a bit more. It's got a super major front on it that I salvaged off my Super 6, which they'd carved to pieces. But I'll tidy that up, put some plate on it, and not quite sure how to get that long look out of it, but I will do it. Probably drop that plate and make the grill longer. But anyway, there it is. So that's my E1A collection. This is the last one. This is 6-speed diesel. Does fly on the road. I've actually put those wheels on this afternoon because I had to change the tyres. I've put onto some decent rims, so they're all a bit dirty at the moment, but when it's cleaned up, I'm going to paint it up. The cab is completely wrong for it. We know that, but I didn't know about buying. These mudguards are quite expensive. That was in the scrap bin, so I thought, well, I'll stick it on there and see what it looks like, and it doesn't look too bad. So I might leave that on there, and I'll paint it. I will paint this one up because it's a Rogue one, I'm not going to paint it. It's certainly not. I'm not going to try and fool anybody. It's a E27N, apart from the looks. I just want people to look at it and scratch their heads. So I'm very tempted to do it in Cornwall colours, which will be gold and black, but I'm still thinking about that. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment. So I think I've covered them all. There's quite a few to look at. Anyway, I'll see you later. Okay, so that's me E27Ns. I've got no idea how long this lot's gone on for. It's been a fairly long blog, I think. This one could be the record breaker, but hopefully you found it interesting. I've tried not to make it too boring. That's the story of them. I've got lots of stories I can tell you about those tractors. It's good. If I had to sell one of them, I'd be really struggling to know which one I'd rather see go. I've got real affection for all of them. So maybe that one that's in the brambles that you can't see very well, I'll let that one go. The picture of, or the little videos with the tractor covered in moss, I mean, that's what we started with, and that is the tractor that's still in the brambles now. And I'm sure it's not as bad now as it was when it was found. But that literally was, when I say a hedgerow find, this was hidden in a hedge. Nobody knew it was there. It'd just been there donkey's years, and they were clearing out, and suddenly this lump of metal comes out, and it was that tractor. And it obviously had some things done to it, but in actual fact, it's quite a good tractor. It's a late one. It's one of the last ones. It's 1950, 51, and everything's in fairly good order on it. And I really ought to keep it, but I've just got so many. But I've got a friend of mine that's quite interested in it, and he's somebody that wants it for a reason. It's a high top back end, which is good, and I think he will have it and put a P6 in, which is, I wanted to put a diesel engine in it. If somebody else would do it, it's good enough for me, really. I don't want any more. I might, you never know. Anyway, that's it for me from tonight. Quick word about Timmy. I mentioned him in there. He's still recovering from his heart attack, or he's had the stents put in. I've seen him a couple of times. He's not as good as he should be, I've got to say. Not that there's anything wrong with him, but he's just a bit downhearted. So I'm going to do a separate blog for Timmy, and I will put this up fairly soon. I've started doing it. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm going to go and see Timmy, and I'm going to get him to, we're just going to have a chat and get on it. And I hope when you've seen it, you know, you'll leave some comments there and fire him up. You know, we've got Timmy thrives on a crowd. He loves to be in front of an audience, and of course he's got no audience at the moment, so we've got to wake Timmy up. So anyway, that's enough from me for now, and thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, you know, plenty of comments. I want to hear what's going on. It does me, you know, I like it when people do comment. I just don't want people to be saying, oh, it's lovely Dave, but you know, I do need to know that it's interesting. If you can watch it on YouTube and give me some likes on that, that's even better. But we're certainly getting the numbers up on this Facebook channel. You know, it was 5,700 last time, I think, and you know, that's good. I'm pleased with it. And it might be just people switching on and saying, "Oh Christ, it's him again," and turning off. But there's a lot of people seeing it through to the end, and they do enjoy it. So for now, I'll keep rambling and ramble on. See you next time. Cheers.